Living green or sustainably is about more than saving on your electric bill and doing your part to protect natural resources. It is about a safer and healthier life for you and your family without sacrificing style, quality, or budget. This is a movement to provide all of us with clean air to breathe and water to drink, safe, healthy food to eat, and places to live, and energy to run the places where we live, learn, play, and work. The Green Gab podcast helps you get the value of green for you, your family, and your community. Whether it's green homes, green living, or the people who make it happen, join me, Marla Close, to learn how green and sustainability practices and products work for our world and you.
Welcome to the Green Gab. Do not adjust your settings. I am not Marla Close from Everyday Green Home and the Green Home Coach. No, our longtime listeners will recognize my voice as Marla's somewhat comedically challenged intellectual partner in crime, Tony Pratte from the Soundroom. We're going to do a little something different today because, let's face it, all of our worlds have been turned upside down. They're a little topsy-turvy, a little crazy, a little hectic. So we thought we'd take advantage of the situation and do a little something different. So today, my special guest host is the one and only, the nationally known Green Home Coach, Marla Close. How's that for an intro?
That is so great, Tony. Thank you. I'm like, no, people, it's not April Fool's Day.
We should have recorded this for April Fool's. It would have been.
No. We didn't think about it in time.
Next year.
Well, as always, recording these episodes to put out to the world with you is always a joy, period. Just a big fat joy. And I'm so appreciative for that. And there's so many crazy things happening in our lives right now that anything that brings you joy is A+ with me. And I think everybody right now.
I think everybody agrees with that. And, when we sat down Monday doing a little pre-production and, you had the idea, hey, let's do something different. I'm like, yeah, let's try it. Because let's face facts. I mean, I'm a rarity. My daily routine, at least from 7 a.m. to maybe about 5 o'clock, has not changed that much.
I feel it. Us too.
I'm in residential construction. Construction is deemed essential. I'm on job sites. Now, granted, how I'm on job sites is different. We're seeing one trade at a time. Carpenters are in there. Well, the electricians aren't starting. The plumbers aren't starting. The HVAC aren't starting. And it's, hey, I'll bring my guys in here when your guys are done. Now, the supervisors, the lead, foremen for all the different trades, they're on there because they're the ones that have to coordinate and kind of talk and see what's going on. And you can't just do it on the phone because with construction, everybody knows the eyes will tell you more than what somebody's words will. I'll walk onto a site and I can tell you exactly how long it is till you need me. But what we're seeing is we're seeing virtual electrical walks where myself and the superintendent is sitting there filming me going through the house and the homeowners are sitting at home.
I saw for National Green Building Standard, the Green Home Certification Program that I've done some work with, I've seen that they're allowing some virtual inspections on things as well. And I guess we're all going to have to figure this out.
Well, the inspectors are still doing it, but when there's only one person that's allowed in the house with them.
Yeah, and they were suggesting the video things and a lot of photographs and videos. And so we're all figuring out, thank goodness we're ingenious, inventive people.
Well, and that kind of brings up the focus, excellent segue to how our lives are changing. And we are spending way more time in the houses now than what we're used to. And, so what are you seeing, Marla? Is there issues that are popping up because we're spending more time in our houses?
Oh, heck yes. We're living harder in our houses. And home is where the heart is has taken on literal meaning. Because our homes are everything right now. And you think about it, the way our lifestyles were a few months ago, we were leaving the house for meetings. We were leaving the house for kids' activities. We were leaving the house to go shop. We were leaving the house to travel and for social occasions. And while the home was our home base, a lot of us weren't spending a lot of times in our homes. It was kind of our regrouping place and the place to store our belongings and to gather occasionally, but not all the time. And one of the things I am hearing from so many people that just makes my heart sing is all the silver linings that people are seeing, all the family time, the return to fixing things and domestic skills, people remembering how to do things they learned maybe as a child or a teenager, and now have time to do, cooking. I think the baking is cracking me up on social media. I had to laugh because my sister and I were talking the other day, and she said one of her friends' porch dropped off homemade rosemary bread. Like, oh my gosh, that sounds so good. My niece's friends are dropping off cupcakes and cakes in a jar and all kinds of fun stuff that they're all baking. So this return to people doing things that we used to do in our homes a lot. And my mom keeps laughing. She goes, well, this is the way we used to live. And I'm like, that's the key. It was the way we did live. But as our population increased, as our activity level, as our lives got more complicated.
Technology.
It was technology. It was society. It was the economic situation. I mean, when you look at the percent of our gross domestic
product.
That one, thank you. 60 some odd percent, I can't remember if it's 63 or 68, is consumer spending.
70%.
Oh, it's higher than, okay, you saw a different report than I did. Okay, so here's the thing. Granted, that generates a lot of manufacturing and a lot of service jobs and a lot of things. But if you start looking at how much of that is necessary versus how much of it is just to be and to grow stuff, it does appear like there's a chance to rebalance things. So this return to home, I hear a lot of people saying that it's returning to our priorities have shifted to what's really important in a lot of people's viewpoints. And it's ironic and interesting, and to me, a God thing, that it's happening during Lent.
No, interesting. I didn't even think about that correlation.
Yeah, our church has done a 40 days of devotion and prayer for Lent, and that's come up a lot in the devotions and the prayers. And, this is going to be weird. We're not going to celebrate Easter. Passover and Seders are not being celebrated the way they normally are. And a lot of our traditions are around gatherings.
Yeah, I mean, my family, I don't know if they're going to get together. I will not be there because, well, since I am out in the public more than anybody.
Don't want to expose it.
No, absolutely not. And I told them when they called, when the first St. Louis County, St. Louis City stay-at-home order came out, and, mom and dad called me up and they're like, hey, you're off work, right? I'm like, no, I'm essential, because it deals with shelter, I mean, we still work. I'm like, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not coming to the house. I'm not risking you with this. So what kind of resources, because we're stuck in the house more often, what kind of resources are out there for people to see if they want to make some improvements to their house, or they can't necessarily go out and get what they need?
Right. And we are seeing so much, and you and I were talking about this earlier too, we're seeing so much online and delivery. And thank you to all the healthcare workers, to the delivery people, to the people working in the grocery stores that are keeping the rest of us going. And I mean, I think yesterday we counted 5 delivery trucks within 2 hours. I had my first delivery, actually it was the only delivery I got yesterday, of toilet paper.
Oh, really?
Because we're actually to the point, and we're kind of coordinating between 4 households. So we'll porch drop things off to my parents or Scott's sister. So we're kind of watching out for everybody right now. So it's like, okay, we got to resupply ours. I'm imagining everybody else is needing resupplying too. But that was on our front porch by 8 o'clock. So yeah, and then this way of thinking has really shifted how I think a lot of us are looking at, wow, I can do this differently in my life.
We're seeing a massive paradigm shift.
Yeah, there is a big paradigm shift. And our neighborhood was very heavily frequented by the delivery trucks, especially from Amazon, because I have a couple of neighbors that are a little younger than us, and they order a lot of stuff. And that's for them a lot easier than going to the store. So I'm excited. I'll kind of tee this up since I'm watching the clock for us. I'm excited to be a part of that shift.
Well, good. So we're going to take a little break here and make sure you continue to tune in because we're going to have some interesting and exciting news to queue up toward the end of the podcast. So let's take a break and come right back with the Green Gap.
Hey, this is Marla Close, the Green Home Coach, and I am the author of Living Green Effortlessly, Simple Choices for a Better Home. And in this book, besides talking about a bunch of stuff about green and sustainability products and practices you can easily take in your home, also talk about home maintenance and how important this is to having a home that serves you rather than you serving it. Seasonal home maintenance checklists are a big part of this, and I teamed up with colleague Tina Gleisner from Home Tips for Women to use her maintenance checklist, actually included in the book, starting on page 96. And if you have the book, look them up. But I wanted to give you a brief excerpt from the book to get you excited about why home maintenance checklists, I know that doesn't sound very exciting, but why they are so important. So, maintaining a home is actually a 3-part ongoing process: inspect, maintain, and update. To help you keep track of what you've done and plan to do, make notes on the checklist. First, inspect. If you've only got an hour to spare, pick one exterior side of the house or one room inside to inspect. Note the date you did this on the checklist and flag items needing maintenance or repairs so you can schedule time or make a list for your handyman or handywoman. Second, maintain. Keep your home safe, such as smoke detector batteries. Keep your home energy efficient, like furnace air filters, and prolong the useful life of many home features, like caulking bathroom tile. Write it down when you complete a task, keeps you from guessing later on. And third, update. Take advantage of improved materials and fixtures. Upgrade to new building codes, and evaluate when it makes more sense to make an improvement rather than repair, such as replacing a bathroom floor rather than repairing the grout. Check out the book or give me a holler and I'll hook you up online to get the maintenance checklist for yourself. If you'd like to have the entire book, please go to livinggreenbook.com for a multitude of ways to purchase it for yourself. Thanks again. This is Marla, the Green Home Coach.
Welcome back to the Green Gab. Yes, Marla and I are in a little bit of a role reversal today. While I'm usually the faithful analyst and co-host, she's letting me drive the show.
There you go.
Probably never get this opportunity again, so I got to make it good.
Thanks.
Well, I mean, let's face facts. You are very good at this. You are the natural leader of the show. Even, back in the early days when we'd have our weekly recording sessions, which I do miss.
I do too.
It was always, you would drive, you would lead, you had the topic, and it was just, I was the person there reacting. That was always my specialty. What could I come up? Because you just never knew what was going to fly out of my mouth.
Well, isn't that the truth?
Exactly. That's because we've known each other for over 14 years.
Yeah. Gosh, has it been that long?
Yeah, at least, because it's 2020. I think at minimum, we've known each other since 2006.
Well, that's when I joined the Green Building Council in St. Louis. So, yeah.
And it started 2005.
Yeah. Time flies.
14 years. I know. But it's because of that longevity in our friendship where we are comfortable with each other and we kind of know how each one is going to act. But the biggest thing is I know the story. I know the story of you. And it's an amazing story. It's a fascinating story. And people that don't know it just don't realize how influential you actually are in green building and women in construction and all of it. So we're going to take this opportunity here in the second segment and give you the floor so your listeners really understand the story of how all this came about, not just the podcast, but everything that you do. So tell us how it all started.
Well, you mentioning that we met in the Home Builders Association in St. Louis back in 2006 really makes me feel old today.
Don't even worry about it.
But that was when I really started officially in the green building industry. But a few years prior to that, we had an experience in my family that really kind of cemented for me this pursuit of better things for better homes and for my family. It really started. But my daughter had this reaction. We were on a cruise of all crazy things. I'm not sure I'll ever go on another one now.
Oh,
I hope so. But it was a real quick 3-day deal that we'd done with family, and she loved to read. And that was her thing. We said, everybody kind of just do their thing. It's 3 days to relax. And she just would crawl in her bed in the cabin and read. And she'd pull the sheet over her. Well, by a couple days in, or the last day of the cruise, bright red all down her arms and her legs. And it like stopped, I realized, right where her t-shirt and her shorts had been. I'm like, okay.
Almost kind of like a sunburn.
Almost, yeah. It almost looked like that, really. And so we got her to the doctor when we got home, and he said she's had a reaction to something topical, something that she touched. And we're like, okay, we figured out it was the sheets, since that was the pattern. And I started researching what they used on the linens to clean them. And I finally found, and it was so hard. This was like 15-ish years ago. So we didn't have the information that we have now that's so available. I mean, the internet was around, but it wasn't like it is now. And so I hunted down the MSDS sheets, which for y'all that don't know, that's a material safety data sheet. And this is what's used by the manufacturers to tell their people they work with the safety, how to handle materials, how hazardous, what the ingredients are. It's kind of the precursor to what we see now on labels, but a lot more information, a lot more safety and hazardous. And we finally found an additive that they used in the detergents that was high risk. And that's what we think the culprit was. We never could be 100% sure. But as a result of all that, her doctor recommended getting all of the additives out of anything that would touch her skin. So our laundry detergent, our soaps, lotions, all of that. And 15-ish years ago, finding stuff without added fragrance and dyes was hard.
Oh, you almost had to be a little investigator, a little detective.
Well, how do you think I got there? Amen. That was exactly what happened. And just within a few years of that time, I ended up in the green building industry when I was working with my friend's company, the energy efficiency company. And that was really kind of between those two experiences, I felt like I'd come home. And I'm like, okay, this is how I can help people, is by taking this information that I'm getting for me and for that time for my friend's little business that we were working on, and I can share that with people. So in 2010, he and I parted company. We're still really great friends. We just wanted to go different directions. And that's when I started working on what eventually became Green Home Coach. And it's evolved, as you know, over, quite a bit over the years.
We don't want to talk about age.
I know, right? But Green Home Coach really has been received well. It helps people to understand what they can do in their homes and that this doesn't have to be a big deal. And I think that was the biggest myth that was really one I wanted to help dispel, is that green doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be expensive. You don't have to do it all at once. You can do a little bit at a time. You can do it all at once, like in a new home, or you can just do it as you're upgrading and maintaining and replacing stuff in your house. So there's all different ways to do it. And what has been the center of my mission and my business is do something, take some action, because that's what empowers us as people. And if you're empowered in your home, then you can help your family, all the people that come into your home, and yourself. And that's really the center of this all, is how to empower people to take action so that your homes serve you, because we really don't want to be a slave to our homes.
True. And, you make a great point with some of your earlier comments that, it's not just all about the environmental side.
Right.
It's also the health side, because, back when, you and I both started on the Green Home Council, it wasn't all just environment. It was, hey, homeowners that have sensitivities.
Right.
How do you build a house? And that was the benefit for those, using those exact same principles and bringing about the health conscious part of it, right?
That's been a huge part of it. And that's what led me to create Everyday Green Home, which is in the royal sense, my online green shop. And so with all this online buying right now, Everyday Green Home is there to serve the people that, hopefully everybody, but the people that really want to know they are doing the best in their homes and that you're leading up to your home being better able to serve you. So I personally curated the collection in there. I have vetted the products. If they don't have a green label, which is, for those of you that are regular listeners know, my hot button, I love things with green labels, independent, third party, validated and certified in different areas. So that's the first thing I look for.
We've only done like 2 or 3 episodes.
I know, we've done a few. But that's an easy one. Go look for that green label that says it's lower in toxins or that says it's energy efficient or water efficient, and a ton of labels out there. If y'all can't find them, just message me and I'll get them to you. But so that's my first line of defense is offense, is go look for those labels. If they don't have labels, then I go through the process that we use when we're certifying green homes with the National Green Building Standard. And that gives me the rigor to know that the products in your home, and this is a lot for the products that are attached to your home that really comply with that way of thinking. And then for personal care products and home cleaners, things like that, there's some other industry standards that we can use to assess how effective they are and how much they're adhering to being safer, healthier, and better for us. So that's what we do.
Wow. I know you and I can kind of talk about your story for probably a couple different episodes. And I feel like we almost have to have one where we kind of talk about your influence in the construction industry, especially the influence on the professional women in building council. But that is a show all itself, I think. And
Thanks.
as we are coming up on a break here, let's kind of reconvene and talk about, I live and work in the technology industry, and things are always changing. So I know you have things that are changing as well. So let's kind of come back from the break and talk about what's new, what's next, what the future looks like for Everyday Green Home.
Yep. I'm excited to let people know.
All right. We'll see you on the other side.
5 myths of green homes are 5 things that you probably believe about green homes that may be costing you thousands of dollars. Which myth do you hear the most? Get your copy of 5 Myths at greenhomecoach.com and click on the button for 5 Myths of Green Homes. You can also connect with me on Facebook at Green Home Coach and let me know the green home myth you hear the most. I'll also share tips, products, and resources. Be sure to download your copy of 5 Myths of Green Homes now and then check back to learn more.
Well, welcome back to the Green Gab. And as we wrap up this episode with our special guest, how strange is that to say? Marla Esther Close. And, we just spent the last 20 minutes or so, kind of talking about your business models, your influences, the story of how you started it all. Well, things have got to be changing for you. Things are always evolving. I know you are always looking to grow your business, and you've had this phenomenal vision of what it would be. So let's talk about that. What's the future going to look like for you in Everyday Green Home, and what's next for Marla?
So what's extra exciting about this is that I set this plan out in 2016. Actually set it in 2015, but I was supposed to be, the plan then was for me to travel, do workshops, and get information out to help people that way. And then in 2016, when Scott, my husband, now we weren't married then, when he was diagnosed with the benign brain tumor, that changed everything. And it literally catapulted me into the world of get my business online faster. But I'd already had this plan where I wanted part of it to be online. And then I'm like, okay, fine. All of it needs to be on, or the bulk of it needs to be online. So with him being in and out of treatments in the hospital and all kinds of craziness over 3 years. I mean, it started in 2016 and his last surgery was July of 2019. So over a 3-year period, I kept working at it. I guess if my middle name was anything else, it would be persistence or perseverance or something like that. Because I fortunately, through the grace of God, was able to keep going. And that it took a lot longer than it was supposed to. a whole lot longer. What had been written out as a 6 to 10 month plan took 3 years. But here's what it all is now, because now enough of it is almost everything's out now. So if you look at it now, the pieces are on place. So for everybody, 3 tools to help you understand how to have a better home. You have listen to this podcast and read my book, Living Green Effortlessly, Simple Choices for a Better Home. So that's really kind of a lot about the how to work around your house and figure things out for your house, your home. And then the third piece of that is to be able to shop for the things that are better for our homes. And that's Everyday Green Home. That's the online shop. So those 3 pieces work together to give people the opportunity to learn and then to take action, which was what was super important to me. And then we go a step further for people that want more education or people that are in the home industry. So home professionals, realtors, people like that can benefit from our training, What Makes a Green Home Green, just a real basic introduction to the different parts of green homes and how they all work together to make a better home. So that's just rolling out now too. So I'm super excited that we now have a full complement of tools to help you have a way, a path, along with the actions to have a better, greener, safer, healthier home.
So you basically were able to put together this synergistic ecosystem all in one spot, one-stop shop.
2, actually. I mean, Green Home Coach has everything. It links to everything. The store, Everyday Green Home, is actually its own website, but it's also linked to Green Home Coach. So yeah, I've got a couple of last things to get updated. So this is the what's next. We have a couple of things yet to update on the Green Home Coach website, which should be done in the next week or 2. And then we have a few little changes coming to Everyday Green Home as well. So Everyday Green Home, the shop, is really laid on top of national affiliate programs like Amazon and Home Depot, so that we have this curated collection from their online stores. So that means you can order and ship, using your Prime or using an account at Home Depot. But I also have affiliate relationships with some of those vendors and then some vendors that are not on those big platforms. So we're building out that page of our trusted referral partners so that y'all can easily find them and get access to those really great products that I really trust and believe in. And I use almost everything that I recommend. And if I don't use it, I make sure that somebody else has recommended it that I trust. So there's a lot of personal. Matter of fact, one of these days I want to do kind of my routines and show people what I use to like clean the house or in my daily personal care routine, just because I've discovered a lot of great products and we're getting them on Everyday Green Home as fast as we can, but I also don't want to bombard people with too much too fast. So like right now in April, because it's April when we're recording this, Yard and Garden Month. And this is a great time for us to be getting out in our yards, especially since we're home a lot, getting prepped for gardening. We're growing vegetables and herbs this year. So I'm super excited to be doing that. And I've been posting some Facebook and Instagram stuff on that. Well, guess what's going on Everyday Green Home on the shop this month?
Seeds?
Yeah, yard and garden stuff. So every month or so, we'll add to it in the theme of what's going on in the world and what can be added. So there's a little bit of rhyme and reason to that. The really fun part is through my affiliate relationships, I connected with a lady here in Oklahoma. She's a woman-owned, I believe they're also veteran-owned, Oklahoma-based company making all-natural cleaners and a handful of personal products, one of those being hand sanitizer. And she makes an FDA-approved hand sanitizer, and its active ingredient is grain ethyl alcohol, which can be obtained through grain alcohol. So I've kind of acquired a side gig of helping to get hand sanitizer out to people, which has been so needed. But it all started through this trusted referral partnership. So it's been, you never know where life's going to take you.
Well, what I like too about it is if you're putting your name on it and you're putting that product or that, partnership on your website, you're basically letting everybody know, I know this product, I use this product. one of my dearest friends use it, whatever. I trust it. I think that's the big thing. So what you're doing is, as we've talked about third-party verification.
Yep.
So many times, you're the third-party verifier here.
Well, and I'm, in some respects, yes. And I'm reliant on the independent third-party certification programs that are out there. But more importantly, I want y'all to know that this is stuff I like and that we use and we trust in our own home. And with, all the health issues that Scott's been through, that's really important to me. I know it was super important to me when I was raising kids and stuff, but it's still super important. It's always super important. Our health is, what better time for us to recognize that our health is key. It's irreplaceable.
No time like a pandemic.
Yeah.
It's, we don't want to make light of it, but, this is the time to kind of refocus on ourselves.
It is.
And your connection to your family and to your home.
And I'm just thrilled that we can be a part of that.
Yeah.
Wish it was under better circumstances, but sometimes it takes a shock for us to realize things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, there's got to be other things too that are impacting changes to your business model. And I know we kind of teased a little change at the beginning of the podcast. So you want to talk to the listeners about that as well?
Well, it is a little bit of sadness and a whole lot of excitement. I'd like to announce that the Green Gab podcast will no longer exist. In its place will be the Everyday Green Home podcast. So we are changing the name of the podcast to align more with the other parts of Green Home Coach and Everyday Green Home. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful synergy. I'm excited about it, and I'm excited to help more people know the things they can do in their homes by being able to find the podcast.
Might be changing the name, but we're not changing the content.
Nope.
Philosophies, nothing.
Just changing the name.
Just a little easier to find.
Yep. So, adieu, Green Gab, and welcome to Everyday Green Home podcast. It may take us a few episodes to get really good at saying that.
Well, and I think it probably lasted about 100 episodes under the original name.
Mm-hmm.
So here's another 100 episodes under the new name.
I certainly look forward to that.
Yeah. Well, I think this has been a fun show. And just so everybody knows, Marla and I are doing very well in the social distancing on this episode. We've got 100 miles.
473 miles worth of it.
Yep. So we're maintaining our 6 feet. Well, Marla, thank you for letting me drive. It was a pleasure to interview you for your show.
I don't know. It's kind of nice to turn over the driver's seat once in a while. I like that. We may have to do this a little more often.
Once a year, I'm sure.
Oh, come on.
No, this was fun. It was a nice role reversal. Well, until next time on Everyday Green Home Podcast. See, I can't even say it. This is Tony Pratte signing off, and I'm sure it'll be a pleasure to speak to everybody about everything new in sustainability, green living, green tips, and the incredible people that help make it all happen and make the world a better place. Until next time, Marla, it's always a pleasure.
Take care. That wraps up this episode of the Green Gab podcast. Ready to use what you learned? Get the show notes with all the resources mentioned in this episode. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you never miss an episode. Thank you again for listening and for leaving a review. And remember that living a little greener is easier than you think.